Hey guys, what's up? This is Midday, your local angry blade dancer, coming at you with a guide on how to play Nova Core Battlegrounds. The rules, tips and tricks, flaws, and what I think are bugs in the game mode, but, well, beyond the obvious crashing, but here we go, let's get straight into it. So, rules, how to play, blah blah blah. So, you start off. Fuck, this guy does not have his minimap expanded. Alright, he does not. That's awkward. Alright, well, let me expand a minimap. This is easily visible, okay? So, you start off either on left or right spawn. In the case here, Juan starts off at the right spawn, this streamer, KFM. And basically, you see that these dials all have a green arrow with them, okay? And this green arrow is basically, they're defaulted at the start of the game. And you'll see here that the green arrow at top is defaulted to point down, okay? So the 12 o'clock one is defaulted to point down, as well as the bottom one defaulted to point up, and the 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock dials are defaulted to point towards the home bases. Okay, so in other words, you only need to switch one. So basically, the left portal brings you close to the fight, as Juan just took, and the right portal brings you to a position where you can instantly swap the 12 or 6 o'clock dial to favor your team. So usually what happens is there's 5 people that run mid, have a fight, and then one person that switches the dial. And in the case, like, the first question you might ask is, okay, well, the pulsar spawns at the start of the game. Which direction does it go? South. The first pulsar always goes south, so the left spawn team instantly has an advantage going into the game, which is inherently unskillful because it's just RNG giving your team a huge advantage. It's like a 250 point instant lead to the game, because it's very, very difficult to switch the first dial. It's like near impossible to switch the first dial that early into the game. So I think, and this is just personally thinking, but I think a simple way to remedy that would be at the beginning the pulsar doesn't go anywhere, or the pulsar doesn't spawn yet, and then everybody goes to mid, has a team fight, and whoever wins that team fight gets to pull a lever at mid, right? Let's say it's like let's say it's a brazier or something, and you just cap it for 6 seconds, and if you cap it, boom, pulsar spawns, goes to your base, right? That would be a skilled way, at least more skilled than this, right? A skilled way of determining who gets the first pulsar, because players should work for their advantages instead of being gifted to them being gifted it at the start of the game. So that being the case, currently speaking, if you spawn right side, it is probably not even worth taking the right portal to switch this dial, because, I mean, fuck, the pulsar is just going to go south first, right? So take the left portal, run immediately south, and get everybody else to run mid, win a team fight, and perhaps commit, right? Just to attempt to get the pulsar. Okay, like I said, it's near impossible, but it's probably not worth investing a person to go top to switch the dial when the next ball isn't even going to be there in like a minute, right? So, yeah, you're going to see that in this diamond, there are 4 roads, and these roads are actually not accessible until 8 minutes into the game. At 8 minutes, it says the sky roads open up, and then you can run diagonally across the map. And at the same time, at every joint, you can get a speed boost. I think here and here as well. There are small, kind of, loopy arches like this that give you a speed boost. 30-second speed boost. It's nice. It's convenient. Helps you get places faster. And of course, the game gets faster paced as it goes on. And yeah. So you're going to notice that at the top here, there's a pulsar icon and then a times whatever, right? That simply tells you how many pulsars are in play at the time. And each pulsar gives you 250 points. There's apparently a streak bonus, like it'll say on this, come on. Oh, it doesn't say here, but apparently on the screen it'll say, there's a streak bonus. I haven't noticed it to do anything, but, so I don't even know what's there. because as far as I'm concerned, every pulsar gives you 250 points, and that's it, right? But yeah. So, one thing that's different and misleading in terms of, or two things that are different and misleading in terms of Whirlwind Valley and Whirlwind Valley, Beluga, and Novacore, is that basically you cannot see across the map, right? Like in Whirlwind Valley and in Beluga, if you look all the way across the map and you see a guy like standing at a brazier or defending a horn, right? You can see them there. In Novacore, there's a certain draw distance that you cannot see your opponents in anymore. And I think that's a bug because it's available in the other two game modes, so I mean, why the fuck not here? And it's actually, I think it's a problem because you need that information, right? Players can make more skilled decisions if they have that information. The game mode becomes more skill-based, simply put, and we should have that. So if you could do that, that'd be nice. I'm not sure if that's a bug or not. I'm pretty sure it is. So, but yeah, that'd be nice. So another thing that I've noticed, I'll just open this screenshot too, because I meant to show these two together. But where's the other one? Okay, so here you can see this is the same game. Okay, you can see here's 1046, 1043, blah blah blah. So here you can see that, and this is the case in Whirlwind Valley and Beluga too, but it's more impactful in Novacore, is that these dials cover up your teammates, don't cover up the enemies, okay? So right here, when I look at just a glance at the 6 o'clock dial, it looks like there's an enemy there, right? With one teammate kind of jerking off at 6:30, and that's it. However, when I mouse over it, you can see that in actuality, I have 3 teammates at bottom fighting, right? To try and protect the dial, because it's pointing the right way right now. So the reason why this is more of a, and like I said, this is the case in Beluga and Whirlwind, right? If you have a brazier, you have a horn statue, it covers up your teammates, doesn't cover up the enemies, and you do have to kind of mouse over the horn or brazier in order to check if there's somebody actually defending it, right? But here the dials are just so damn big that it covers up like a lot of people. Like, look, it's covering up 3 fucking people here, right? So I think that it should allow us to see both teammates and enemies. Oh, and fuck, I always forget to mention this, but I'm gonna mention this right now because looking at the screenshots making me remember. But if you look at top and bot, both of the enemies are labeled number 1. I swear this used to not be the case. It's just been the case for so long and nobody said anything about it. But if we could please have back the actual team numbers so we can cross-reference them with the score screen, then like with the M key, then I mean that'd be way better, right? Because I'm tired of having to ask my teammates directly, like, who is it specifically that you're fighting, right? And don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing to do, right? That's not necessarily bad to have communication and be like, oh, who exactly are you fighting? Okay, thank you for that information, right? Because that's communication, that's teamwork, that's all part of winning the game. But I mean, fuck, if you had it before where they were numbered and never all of a sudden they're all switched to number 1, I mean, come on. Like, it's just better if we have them numbered. It's just more convenient for everybody, right? It's not like you mouse over them and we can see their fucking name, right? Like, we actually have to use our brains, open up the M key and see who, like the screen and see who it is. So, I mean, that's not necessarily a huge thing, and in terms of 6v6 and the state of 6v6 overall, it's the least of our worries, but I mean, that'd be nice if we can get that back, right? So, basically, I'm saying have it so that both teammates and opponents prioritize over the dial. And then some people might say, wait, there's a catch-22 there, because then if we have, you know, everybody covering up the fucking dial, we won't be able to see where the green arrow points, right? But I mean, there's so many easy fixes for that. You could extend the green arrow so the green arrow is longer. You could have the roads shaded in certain colors so that you can see which, you know, directions that they're pointed in. You could have animations on the mini-map, what have you, right? So, something simple. So, particularly important in Novacore. I don't know how people play with fucking small mini-maps. I have to keep my mini-map large so I can actually see the shit that's going on. It's not disruptive to looking at the fight. Anyways, I digress. One thing that's super important about Novacore Battlegrounds is that, let me go back to the last game. I think it was important here. Hello. All right, so here you can see that at 5 minutes into the game, and it does happen at 5 minutes. Let me just come on. Okay, boom, 5 minutes. The last switch has been activated, right? So just for terminology's sake, I call this 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and then I say home switches, home dials, whatever you want to call them, okay? And these are important because you can see that if this or makes it here, they win the game. However, oh, actually, these guys win anyways. Never mind. Okay, but if they were to switch that dial and the ball went the other way, you'll notice that the ball actually will go straight towards the enemy base, okay? And this is important because this is the equivalent of the, like triple cap turning around a game, because you can see that there's four balls in play right now, and that adds up to 1,000 points, right? Which is a lot of fucking points, right? That would win the game for either team right now, regardless of how ahead or behind they are. And I understand that the balls are in different places, but what'll often happen in the game is that you can see these balls are stacked together, right? Because they'll just keep rebounding back and forth, assuming that the game is going even, right? Because it is hard to steal and change these switches. It takes 6 fucking seconds, right? You have to wipe the whole team in order to actually properly take apart one of these switches and change the direction, right? So basically, at the end, you can change the home dial, switch your roam over to your base, and then win games from there, okay? And that's a clean, simple way of turning a game around, because otherwise it can get pretty aids to just sit there and die the whole time, which is kind of what happens in Whirlwind, to be honest with you. Like, triple capping is really hard in Whirlwind, and keeping a triple cap is even harder, and turning a game around from a triple cap is super hard. I mean, unless you get lucky and all your opponents crash, which isn't actually too far out of the question right now, but anyways, yeah, these are just simple things. So yeah, there you have it. Nova Core, Battlegrounds in a nutshell, how to play, tips and tricks. Oh yeah, and get rid of this fucking thing in the middle. Like, why do we have to run around this shit, right? Like, why is it there? It doesn't need to be there. This fucking fountain, because people actually clip on it, right? They actually get interrupted and jammed, even if they aren't, like, running directly against it. Or it's just easy to catch on it, right? So just, if we get rid of that, that'd be nice. So basically, I've gone over the rules, I've gone over a couple small strategy things, and I've gone over the when it spawns in the middle at the start, it'd be nice if there was a skill-oriented way of determining where it goes rather than simply having it spawn south the whole time. And lastly, I'll just say that a lot of you are like experiencing crashes and shit, and I've made videos about that too, and I think everybody's like super sick and tired and impatient with it, and a lot of players have actually quit over it, right? Because 6v6 Battlegrounds is what a lot of endgame whales sink their time into. Because, I mean, fuck, it's not... They don't want to grind dungeons after they got all their shit. And, it's fun to bring that shit into a interactive, objective, PvP-based game mode that's fun. And 6v6 is a lot of fun. And I said earlier that, like, instead of giving us Nova Core, why don't you just fix our game mode? But, I mean, that didn't happen. And so I'll just quickly go over some of the things that NCSoft are working on, okay? So basically, what they've said is that with internal testing, they've been unable to replicate crashing. That's right, you heard me. They apparently have never been able to internally replicate the crashing. So that's when I asked, have you guys tested on the live servers? And they said, yes, we've tested on the live servers. And I don't know if they were like white lying to me. I don't know if they were like, yes, we test the game on the live servers. Not the specific bug specifically, but, we test on the live servers. I don't know if, they were sort of doing that to me or something. Because there's no way, right? There's no way that for months and months and months, like basically a year, right? They test internally. And they're like, oh, well, we've just never crashed despite players of all computers, all ISPs, just crashing left and right, like without exception, right? Like people just crash in this game mode, and there are different kinds of crashes, and I've gone over that shit too. But that was really like sketchy to hear. We've never crashed before. I mean, I have no choice but to believe them, but that's what they're telling me. Okay. So then next we're saying like how long until we get a fix, okay? So there's no ETA. They don't want to give us an ETA, and it makes sense because from a business standpoint, you should not give an ETA. Because, you know, if you fail to make that ETA, then that's when everybody goes like, oh, fuck you. Like, even more so, right, than without giving an ETA. And I know some people will disagree with me there, but, I mean, that's just... It's not... Like, people in positions of responsibility don't want to be held liable for shit that they say, so they will just say something like, well, I'm not going to say anything about it, right? And when I put it that way, hopefully it makes, like, a little more sense. But, so... Just from the conversations that I've had, though, if I were to make a guess, if I were to make just a semi-wild guess as to how long it'll be before it gets fixed, I would say, like, 1 to 2 months. Because over time, especially within the past month, the priority of fixing battlegrounds has gone up and up and up. And I think it's because, you know, marketers, like with Blade and Soul, are getting involved now. Like, they're hearing about this problem. So people who deal with the actual money and business and marketing of the game are hearing about this, which is unusual, right? Because usually those people worry about their own fucking job, right? They worry about publishing on the game and, you know, advertisements and shit like that and incomes and what to do to increase that, right? They don't worry about in-game bugs. That's for debuggers and developers and the quality assurance team to work on. But now these guys are getting involved, so what I'm guessing is that they're noticing all the whales quitting, they're losing money, right? This is me semi-talking out of my ass, but I think that I'm backing it up with enough, you know, basic reasoning that it's believable, right? It's just my 2 cents, so to speak. So, yeah. And I've noticed this on NA, but like a large amount of... Like, the 6v6 community, the high-level 6v6 community is a 2-digit number. And it's, like, you know, kind of disheartening, but it's being worked on, I guess. Like I said, if I were to make a guess, 1 to 2 months. I don't really know why they have to, like, fuck, man. It's just frustrating, okay? And believe me when I say that, out of all of you, I'm probably one of the most frustrated at all, because I play this shit like it's my fucking second job, right? Because it's fun, right? I enjoy it, and when I crash and shit, and it's just not enjoyable. So, yeah. They're working on it. It's high priority. I think it's... Well, I don't think it is too slow. It is too slow, because people have quit over it, right? But it's better... I mean, as much as it pains me to say it, it's better late than never. So, yeah, that's it in a nutshell. And in regards to DC boosting and abusing, NCSoft, it's on the table that they're just gonna make it so that DCs and shit like that won't change the point gain loss at the end of the game, and then that'll fix the DC boosting problem. It won't fix sandbagging, right? Because like for the NA server, it got so nasty at the end of the season to the point where people were like logging onto accounts at the end of games to boot people off accounts in order to boost, like people from other clans that like just didn't like each other and shit like that. Like, it got insane, right? And there's evidence and proof of it, and I've sent in multiple tickets, and then NCSoft decides to not really care. So I mean, nothing I can do about that, but. Yeah. So, they're probably going to change that. And one thing that I brought up more than once to them is that it's fucking stupid that if you DC from a game, you cannot come back without losing points from the initial DC. And everybody and their mom and their dog thinks that's fucking stupid. And that should have been fixed 1 week. That should have been fixed 1 week after it came out. And it's been here for like 2.5 months or some shit. And furthermore, this is the biggest kick in the balls, okay? This is the biggest kick in the balls, but the quality assurance team knew that was going to happen before they rolled out the fix. They knew that it wasn't working properly. And I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't really know what's wrong with the Blade and Soul quality assurance team, but it is below industry standards. Because this is not like the first thing that they've done that is just dysfunctional, right? And I sympathize with them in one way, and that's because they get the full build from the Korean client. They get the whole game again. They don't just patch one part of the game. They get the full fucking build. That's why when they release patch notes and shit like that, there's so much shit that's left out. Because I don't know if it's lost through translation or they just forget to get all the details, but they get the full build and not just a piece of the game. And then they get fucked over in different ways because of that. And like, it's up to, like, it's their job, right? That's what they're getting paid for, to make sure that we get the right information, but it's just not happening. And because of that, I think that the quality assurance team is like sucking a giant donkey penis, right? Like, I don't know what they're doing. So if it's not fixing it, don't put in the fix. Actually fix the problem first. And I don't know why they can't do it, right? I don't know if they're incapable. I don't know how hard the problem is. I understand that coding and like programming and fixing bugs in a game is actually way harder than it looks. Even if you program it correctly the first time, you can press the start button and everything will go to shit. And it takes like a million years to figure out everything out, right? Like, this is just what I've heard from managers when I was still in esports and stuff like that. And because I was always raging about new patches in games. But they were telling me, you know, like, it's really hard. And sure, right? Like, if that's true, if that's the case, I sympathize with that. But this is just not okay. To introduce something that's wrong, knowing that it's wrong, right? That's not right. Anyways, so hopefully they fix all the above things sooner than later. And yeah, this is basically it. I guess I should name this video Nova Core Battlegrounds and an update on State of 66 because I spent a good amount of time on that. Anyways, thanks so much for watching the video. I will peace out.